Okay guys, we're going to have a look at task 3 today, the copper training. Task 3 is all about bending to specified pipe centres. So to begin with, the first bend that we're going to look at is a 90-degree bend, and it's going to be pulled at 150mm centre. So we're going to use the measure back method. So to begin with, I'm going to accurately position my steel rule on the end of my pipe. The pipe centre is going to be 150, so my measure back for a 90-degree bend on 15mm pipe is 70mm. So I'm going to measure back, mark my pipe. Okay, once I've got my measure back mark, I'm then going to put that into the benders. Okay, the measure back mark needs to go right on that straight part of the form at the beginning of the form there, just so you can see the line disappearing. Okay, pop the slide in. Put your stop in place, put a little bit of pressure on so that the stop doesn't fall off again. Once the stop's in place, a little bit of pressure on, move around. You're going to take each end of the scissor benders to maximise leverage, and we're going to pull that round to 90 degrees, okay? So our marks on our benders, we've got 22.5, we've got 45 and we've got 95. You want to end up with the end of that line in the middle of the pipe work. Copper does spring back, so I'm going to overbend slightly and then release the pressure. Hold on to the slide so it doesn't drop to the floor. Take that out, drop that on the bench, and now we need to check that it's actually 90 degrees. So I'm going to take myself a square, stand my pipe up, and then I'm going to just check to see that that gap is uniform all the way up. They should be running parallel. I can see that I've slightly underbent that because of the gap at the beginning there. But that's okay, I can pop that back in the benders. My mark needs to go back at the beginning of the form. Make sure it's in the right place. We don't end up with sort of excess throat marks. I'm then going to just give it a little bit more of a tweak. Just a fraction. Take it back out and then check it. There we go. I'm happy with that. Okay, so that's the first part of the bend called our 90-degree bend. We now need to check that it's actually 150mm from the end of the pipe to the centre of the pipe going the other direction. So just pop it in the edge of the bench, hold your steel rule on the end of the bench, and then just check that we've got 150mm, which we have. So that's the first part done. Now I'm going to move on to the second part of the bend, which is a 30-degree bend with the centre being 150mm away from the centre of this pipe here. So first of all, let's just mark the middle of our pipe. So we need to accurately measure from the centre of the pipe 150mm, which can be quite tricky measuring off of the bend. Sometimes you don't know where that starts. So mark the middle of the pipe. You can hold your slide on. We can then take a steel rule and we can hold it against our slide. Then we need to measure and mark 150mm, but this time we're going to pull a 30-degree bend. So I'll measure back on 15mm pipe work for a 30-degree bend is 23mm. Okay. Right, because I'm going to pop that back in the benders the other way, I need to transfer my mark round. So that mark there, we need to mark it around the pipe in a couple of places. Once I've transferred my line around, I can then pop that back into the benders. So again, my measure back mark needs to be on the straight bit of the form, the beginning of the form. Pop the slide in, hold my stop on. Just put a little bit of pressure on so the stop doesn't fall off. Okay, once that's in place, then before I bend this second bend, I need to make sure that the pipe is in the former and it's flat, okay? If I was to go ahead and bend it like that, it wouldn't be flat. So I need to use a straight edge, pop it on the form, hold it in place, and I need to check that my gap here between the straight edge and the pipe is the same at this end and the same at the beginning, okay? And if it's the same, just check your mark's still in the right place, and then we're gonna go ahead and bend 30 degrees. Now 30 degrees isn't on here, like I said earlier, it's 22.5 the first one, so it's gonna be just past that mark. I'm gonna use a square just to check. Something like that, okay. Don't hold that slide because it'll drop out as soon as you start to undo it. Take it out, just check that it's nice and flat. Hold it on the bench. We're now going to measure from the centre of the pipe here to the middle of the bend, and it should be 150 mil. There we go, 150 mil to the centre of the bend. Okay, now the last step, all we need to do to finish task 3 is trim our end down from the centre of the bend to the end. Needs to be 100 millimetres. So we just measure from our centre point, measure to the end, mark 100 mil, and then we can trim that small section off. Take a pipe slice, pop it on. There's a little arrow that shows the orientation, the direction we should turn our cutter, and just twist. What you want to do is just have a little look in there to make sure that the cutting wheel is staying in line and it's not started to tram line and wander up the pipework. There we go. So if we measure from the centre of the bend to the end, we've got 100 millimetres. And there we are. That is task 3 complete.